Can we get her? Who's that for, Si?
Alan the Great, of course.
Indeed, we are back in the studio, tubers and groovers, you beautiful people. And today, the Alan Masterful Grandmaster Great has done it again. He's done it again. Do you want to explain, Simon, what he has done exactly?
Well, Alan's brought you a very, very useful video on if you've got a pair of Behringer Truth studio monitors.
So we're back to the Behringer again, guys.
Yeah, do like a bit of Behringer. And basically what happened is one of them, tweeter's blown up. So he shows you what's happened, what parts you need, and repairs it. So that's a very useful monitor because this is a it's a common thing that happens.
Yeah. These are active monitors. They're pretty good for the money, aren't they?
But they're still around £350 for a pair. So if yours blow up, this is a nice cheap repair for you.
So without further get down and boogie, let's go beyond to Alan the Great and let's see the tools in motion.
Right, on the bench today, we've got a Behringer. And the number is B2031A studio monitor, and it smoked the tweeter. When I put the meter across the two wires, what is that, about 40 odd volts across it. Obviously there's a problem with these have got separate amps, so consequently the amp that drives the tweeter has obviously got a problem with it, so we've got to sort that out. We turn it round, we take it off, and the actual amp portion is this piece here, and it's your guess as good as mine what is actually in there, but we'll have a look at it and see. I'll unscrew the back and get this off, and then we'll see what's going on. Right, taking the screws out, it's quite easy to take off, and this just falls off. You can see this is just like a speaker cabinet, and the actual amp is this portion here. Got our main a power transformer, which supplies the amplifier section. And looking at the chips on here, there's one there, and one there. Don't quite know why there's three there yet, but one is obviously for the tweeter, which is, there's two wires going into the tweeter. These ones here are for the indicator lamps on the front. And you've got one for the tweeter and one for the bass speaker. You've got to find out which one of these chips is obviously it's short, and we've got to find out which one it is. It's going to be relatively straightforward to get the board out. I think there's a screw there, and they don't look as though they've actually been tampered with before because they've got the red sealer on them. These are actually glued. This one isn't. This one can actually just unplug. The power transformer has got a glue on it, which we can quite easily just pull off. If we lift that tab back, that will come out. And this one here just literally pulls out for the indicator lamps. So basically that is now free of the cabinet, so we can get rid of that in a minute. Put that down there. Find out which one of we'll take this out and we'll find out which one of these is short. Okay, the amp was quite easy to get off of this case here. Basically it was fixed on with a couple of screws through that side, and to get the heatsink off of the amp board, it was mainly the chips that were holding on the street. There's a screw there, screw there, screw there, with the insulating hardware was basically holding that to the heatsink. So then the heatsink goes onto there and holds onto there, and there's they put some heatsink compound on there, and that basically holds it in there. Right, now the chip, or the offending chip for the tweeter, is that one on the end there. These two are connected in parallel to get more of a more power. That's for for the woofer. So yeah, so basically it's just we've got a new chip here to go in. So basically it's just a matter of unsoldering that one, or desoldering that one, and putting the new one in, putting it back together, and then hopefully it's going to work.
Right, here we are. Al and I have been having such fun. It's about half an hour later. How's it going now?
Bloody awful. Well, I tried my solder sucker on there, and I tried my my pump one. Didn't work. So tight in the holes. Eventually, what I had to do was I had to just cut the old one off, basically, and leave the remnants in there, and then take them out individually with my soldering iron. Now I've been attempted to put the new one in, and it is so tight that it keeps pushing the pins up. All the holes are clear, but it seems that the pins on the new one are very tight. I've only managed to clear the holes out so that we can actually fit the new one in there. It goes right down through the pads there, and it's right on there. So what we'll do is we'll solder that in. Right, okay, we've got the chip soldered in. What we're going to do now is we're going to try and put it back in the box. Got a little bit of heatsink compound. It's actually on the heatsink itself. There's some compound still because these insulating washers are still on there. Kept them in there. Just put a bit of heatsink compound on. Messy stuff. Got some standoffs. The screws, I put the screws back in again so I didn't lose the screws. Right, okay. So it does get messy. Now relies on the chips to actually hold the board in, and the two standoffs. That will go through there. Like that, and then you've got the insulating washer will fit inside the hole, and to give it a good, to isolate it off of from the rest of the heat sink. There we go. Right, so the tab of the ICs have got to be insulated from this, from the metalwork. So you've got the insulating washer between the nut and the tab, and the screw that goes right the way through. So that is actually isolated from that now. So what I'll do is I'll screw that one up. I'll do this one and I'll do that one, and then we'll go on from there. Right, we've got this fixed to the heatsink now with the 3 screws, and the 3 chips actually hold the board on to the heatsink. I put some heatsink compound, because that was on there originally. I wiped it off, but I put some new heatsink compound so that the heatsink actually goes back in the box and it gives good thermal contact with the box. I'll put that back in there. That. Back in there. That's running now. Just pull this over so we can actually get this. There's 3 large screws which fit in here. hold the heatsink to the case. Okay, so basically that's it. We've got to just plug this one back in here again. Okay, it's back in there. And then basically can go back in on the box, which is in there. So now what I'm going to do, we've got it all connected to the speakers. We've got the woofer connected. Haven't obviously got the tweeter connected because this was the faulty channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it on via the variac and wind it up, make sure there's no smoke, and then check the DC offset on the two leads which go to the tweeter.
Yeah, because before it was like, was it minus 30, 40?
It was minus 30 or 40 volts,
yeah.
And that is what burnt out the voice coil on the tweeter, yeah. So I'll set this to millivolts. Well, actually, no, I won't. I will check. I'll put it at 200 volts to start with. Put this on here, if I can actually see that, and we'll switch this on. So I think we're on there. Right, I'm going to wind this up. Now 52 volts. There doesn't appear to be any. I've got my guitar plate into the other channel, and it's come on, and you can actually hear that. Still no smoke from that one, so I think that chip's obviously working. Okay, so we're up full voltage now, so yeah. Okay, so that's working. Now we'll check the DC offset on the tweeter and see what we've got. And according to that, we've got 0 volts. If I turn it down now, 20, still got 0 volts. 2 volts, we've got 20, we've got, there we go, 200 millivolts. We've got 2.7 millivolts on there, so that's pretty good. So yeah, I think we can safely say that is actually working now. And now we can go on and rebuild the tweeter. Well, here we are, it's another day, and we've got the Truth B2031A, and what we're going to do now is, remember it blew the tweeter. Luckily you can actually get a repair kit for these, which is pretty good because they're probably really expensive to buy, which we've got here, and we'll go through how to replace the burnt out voice coil, and put the new one in. Okay, so and this is what we've got, all nicely wrapped up in a plastic. Looks very delicate actually, but so there you go, you've got that. This is what you have to replace. You've got the voice coil and the little dome, and we'll see how it fits in. It's all nice, and it's got the 2 tags on the end, which obviously the wires with the spade terminals connect to. Right, okay, so we'll taking this one apart. Can you see? I'll try and keep my hands out the way so you can see. Well, there's 4 screws in the front, and there's a strong old magnet. I'll undo these screws. Take the front off. Now what we've got is this, and it just pulls out. There's a gasket there which will leave in place, and there's the old voice coil, and it is well fried. It is well fried, as you can see the difference in the winding colour. As you can see, it's black. Okay, and I think it's open circuit as well. So right, so the new one, I don't think there's any particular way it goes. It just goes in there, and it self-centres on those little pivots. do is we'll put this back. Again, I don't think it goes any particular way. Yes, it does. It's got some little cutouts there which have got to go in there. And then these go back on there. There we go. Oh, easier than I thought. Okay, so we got the bezel off, and there's a couple of LEDs on. There's the on-off, the one for the power, and the limit, which is for the signal limit, which is that will flash when you overload it. Unfortunately, it's glued in, so I'm not going to take that off. I'm going to leave that on. We've got the 4 screws. Wrecking it. Let's put it on there. We've got the 4 screws. This is why we put it back, so that we put the screws back in again, so we didn't lose them. Which I. Now it goes back. Like that. So we've got a positive on there and a negative on there. So actually, let's go. Yeah, it probably goes like that. It's not too critical how it goes, but which way it goes around. But obviously, you need to go around for the leads. So you can turn these around anyway, these leads, so it doesn't really matter. Right, we'll put that back on again. You're right. Okay, so I fixed that to the back of the bezel with the screws. I found the other screw. Luckily, I hadn't rolled too far. And put the positive and the negative speaker leads on. The positive has got a red dab of paint on, so I assume that is right. And then the negative hasn't got anything on, so but they're on there nice and tight. So that can go back in like that. As you can see, all you need is to see rather. All you see is just basically the centre portion of the tweeter. Right, we'll put the screws back and hopefully that'll be job done. Okay, so it's on and it's all working, although you can't hear anything. It is actually working. I can hear the hiss from the tweeter now, so it is actually working again. So that's all good. There's no other setting up to do on it. There's no the 0 point on the 2 outputs. They're all done internally. The biasing is all done internally in the chip. So there's no setting up to do. It's just a matter of just replacing the faulty chip, and that was it. It's all working, and basically that's it. Job done.
Goodbye from me and Al, so we'll see you next time then.
Cheerio. Well, you don't get more in depth than that.
No, and did you notice how Alan didn't play the whack part?
He didn't play the whack.
No whacking going on.
He was only on the get down, brother.
Yeah, he was. Behringer have copied the Genelec.
If you don't know what Genelec are, guys, if you think, what are they talking about? Well, Genelec is a pair of studio monitors that are very, very, very expensive. But anyway, these little Behringers, if you're starting out a studio, they are as honest as you can get. They're very accurate, and you will get a good mix back. Now, if you don't understand why it's so important to have studio monitors that are accurate, years ago I had a set of studio monitors. They were called Elisa Studio Ones. My God. So I'd sit in my studio, I'd listen to my mix, and I'd get it sounding as good as I could, and I'd play it in the car and it would sound absolutely shite, because the monitors weren't giving me a true reflection of what I was recording. So it is so important. Everything you run through in the studio, from the guitar to the cable to the mixing desk to the recording machine through the effects, the last thing in line are the speakers, the studio monitors, and they are the most important thing, aren't they?
If you're just running a laptop on its own with your audio interface, spend your money, as Jay says, on your studio monitors, because then you'll get great mixes.
So we think it's important, and if you've got a broken one, you need to know how to fix it. Hence why this video was made.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I've seen on the internet there's lots of people, same problem, oh, my tweeter's not working, how do I fix it? This is how you do it.
So check this video out. Watch Alan the Grandmaster. Great. At his work. He's the man. Now please like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen.
Share with all your friends.
Yeah, hit that blooming button that tells you notifications, and then you'll know when our videos are coming out. We love you all, tubes. We really do, and we look forward to seeing you again next week on Take the Fear Out the Gear with me, Chumley Warner.
And me, Mr. DJ Fresh Bangers.
Yeah, or in other words, Chumley Warner. I think we said Chumley Warner twice.
I'm seeing double.
We'll leave it there because that's a great outro. Take care, tubes. We'll see you again. Ta-da.